Hey guys, it's Akira, part of Truth and Live United. What is going on? So listen, today we telling the story of David and Bathsheba and child.
She knows exactly what she wants, and she knows exactly what she deserves, and it makes them boys nervous.
Alright, so if you follow me on Instagram, which you should be, I did a poll if you wanted to hear the story of David and Bathsheba or Sarah and Abraham. That's what it was. David and Bathsheba won. So today we're going to tell that story. Now, before I get all the way into it, I just want to remind people that the Bible is full of people, regular humans, who it's not Jesus. Jesus wasn't regular, but the Bible is just full of regular humans who were being used by God. They are complicated, they are layered, they are imperfect. So I just felt the need to give that little disclaimer, because when I was reading the story of David and Bathsheba, like, I heard the story before. Obviously, David's probably one of the most famous people in the Bible. You know, he killed old boy with the rock, and you know, David was a king and all that stuff, right? So I had heard the story of him and Bathsheba, but when I read it again, I was like, sir, what is happening? So yeah, I just felt like I should throw that disclaimer in there. So Lego. So David is king, and right now his people are at war. Normally, from my understanding, you know, the kings tend to go to war with their folks, but right now he chilling in Jerusalem. Joab and the Israelite army, they out fighting. So one day David is just kicking it on his roof, you know, just maxing and relaxing, and he look over and he like, ooh, who is that shorty over there? And it's Bathsheba. Bathsheba kicking it, minding her business, just bathing, you know, getting up in the crevices, make sure everything clean, ready to go. Because her husband is off at war. Now, her husband is Uriah the Hittite. So David be like, hey, who's that shorty over there? He go send somebody, yo, who was that? They like, hey, yo, that's Bathsheba. That's Uriah the Hittite's wife. He like, oh, word? Bring shorty to me. It reminds me of like when the dude, whoever the money dude is in the club, and he in his corner, and he be like, yo, go get her. And he sent his bodyguard or whoever to go get her. That's what it remind me of. I'm sorry. I don't know. Whatever. Y'all thought it too. Whatever. So anyway, David has Bathsheba come to the crib, and he smashed. So yeah, he sleep with Bathsheba. She do her purification, because I guess she had just had her cycle or whatever. So she do her little situation. Then she goes. Later, she finds out she pregnant. So she hit up the king like, yo, player, you got the kid pregnant. What we gonna do? And he like, oh, snap. Because, you know, he knew what it was. He knew she was married. He knew he was wrong. So, you know what he did? Let me tell y'all what David did. David tried to cover his tracks. He called Joab, because, again, Joab is old boy. That's his homie who runs the Israelites, the army, right? He like, yo, go get Uriah. Tell Uriah to come talk to the kid. So Uriah come to the kingdom like, yo, what's up, David? Well, he ain't say what's up, David. He probably was like, my king, or whatever the response, you know, how you greeted folks back in the day. David is like, yeah, what's up? You know, how's everything going? And Uriah the Hittite. Uriah gets to the palace, and David's like, what's up? What's going on? And he like, you know, king, everything good, everything popping. You know, we pew, 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 we getting them out of here. You know what I'm saying? And so David is like, you know what? You have been working so hard. Go home and kick it with your wife. We know why he wanted him to go home and kick it with his wife. Uriah's like, you know the messed up thing about the whole Uriah part of this situation? Uriah was just a cool, at least from this story in this particular situation, he was a solid dude. He was one of them dudes to me who probably was like all about his country, all about his king, all about his people. He was very like, no, like, I'm with my people. You know what I'm saying? That's why this was sad. But anyway, so David's like, yo, go kick it with your wife. Go home, relax. Uriah like, you know what? I can't even vibe like that. He didn't say this to the king. I can't even vibe like that. So what he did was he slept at the palace, like with the palace guards, and just kicked it with them. So when David find out that Uriah ain't go home, because let's keep it a buck, he wanted him to go home and smash his wife so he could hide the fact that he slept with his wife, so it wouldn't look like Dave had an illegitimate kid out here. You know what I'm saying? So David find out Uriah ain't go home. He like, Uriah, why you ain't going home? He like, you know, my people out there, they fighting, they up here, you know, spraying and doing all that stuff. I can't in good conscience go home and kick it and chill with my wife and sleep with my wife, knowing my people out there dying on that front line. Like, I ain't even built like that, king. I ain't even built like like, all right, fool, you could go back to war tomorrow, but just come kicking in the palace tonight. Da, da, da. So David tried to get him drunk. Like, David gets him drunk, right? Drunk. Because he like, yo, I can get him drunk, send him on home to his wife, let her smash one time. Boom, we in the clear, right? Nay. Because no matter how drunk David got Uriah, his loyalty was firm. 10 toes down, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, no, king, I'm good, king. And he slept again at the palace. So now David is like, bruh, now I got to kill you. David writes a note, gives it to Uriah for Joab. The note is like, yo, put Uriah where the killers at, where the killers at. Put him on the front line and y'all pull back. Because I'm trying to kill this fool. Because I'm tired of him playing with me. He won't let me hide my sin, right? Yo, he playing games. He got to go. On some mob ties type stuff, right? You know, Joab, he a soldier. He gonna follow orders. So Joab put him where David told him to put him. But he got killed with a whole bunch of other Israelite soldiers, right? Joab told the messenger, yeah, tell the king, some people got killed. Tell the king, we got messed up in some places, some stuff happened. Oh, but Uriah got killed too. Uriah died too. So the messenger go back to Jerusalem and tell the king what happened, basically give him the report. David, heartless. David like, yo, Joab, that's crazy. Matter of fact, I'm gonna read you exactly what the verse says. It's verse, 2 Samuel 11. And it's verse 25, and I'm reading in the NLT version. It says, well, tell Joab not to be discouraged, David said. The sword devours this one day, and that's one tomorrow. Fight harder next time and conquer the city. That to me just sounds like, wow, that's crazy. David, get your life, David. So when Bathsheba found out her bae is gone, she, of course, mourning because she's sad. Like, that's her bae, right? So after this certain a lot of time that she had to mourn, David was like, all right, cool. So listen, you about to be back. You about to be new wife. Gather your things. Let's go. Move to the palace. Boom. So now she becomes one of David's wives. And the whole time, God is like this. A word. Say word. Bet. So then David gets visited by Nathan. Now Nathan is a prophet. And God told Nathan, go snatch him real fast because he's down here tripping. So I'm going to read y'all the story that Nathan said to David, right? So this is at the beginning of 2 Samuel 12. It said, and again, this is the NLT version. So Nathan, go tell David a story. There were two men in a certain town. One was rich and one was poor. The rich man owed a great many sheep and cattle. The poor man owned nothing but one little lamb he had bought. He raised the little lamb, grew it up with his children, ate from the man's own plate, and drank from his cup. That was his bae. Lamb was bae, right? He cuddled it in his arms like a baby daughter. Okay, so maybe not bae. Daughter. Like his daughter. One day a guest arrived at the home of the rich man, but instead of killing an animal from his own flock or herd, he took the poor man's lamb and killed it and prepared it for his guest. Now, when David heard this story, that's crazy. How dare he? Why would he do that? That man deserved to die. Nathan like, oh word. Isn't it ironic? Because fool, that's you. Nathan says, you are that man. The Lord, the God of Israel, said, I anointed you king of Israel and saved you from the power of Saul. I gave you your master's house and his wives and the kingdoms of Israel and Judah. And if that had not been enough, I would have given you much, much more. Why then have you despised the word of the Lord and done this horrible deed? For you have murdered Uriah the Hittite with the sword of the Ammonites and stole his wife. From this time on, your family will live by the sword because you have despised me by taking Uriah's wife to be your own. Basically, don't be out here doing dirt and then don't think you ain't gonna reap the repercussions. God, like, you tried it. I would have had your back on anything, but you out here wilding out. Get your life right, David. Get your life right. So now God is mad. God big mad. So Nathan was like, you know what? You know what the Lord told me to tell you? From now on, I'm snatching your whole life player. All your wives about to get new baes right in front of you. You did your stuff in the dark. All your stuff about to become to the light. And your baby with Bathsheba gonna die, pimping. So, I mean, I'm sorry, that wasn't funny. But I just can imagine. Could you imagine So nowadays, we don't think about God in this way for whatever reason. But could you imagine God being so mad at you that he sends somebody directly to you like, yo, I'm about to wreck your whole life, player. I'm about to jack up your whole life because of one decision you made. Well, not even one, because his one bad decision snowballed into these other decisions, right? God is like, I'm about to jack up your whole life, player. Just watch. After, Nathan get David together, David like, I know I messed up. David was sincerely apologetic because he loves God. He genuinely loves God, but he was a man who dealt with sex. Like, he loved women. You know what I'm saying? So he was thoroughly apologetic. And God, the dope thing about God is like, Nathan told him, God already forgave you. He ain't gonna kill you behind this L. But again, I'm snatching that baby out because that wasn't part of my plan. Like, get out of here with that. After that happened, the baby that Bathsheba had got real sick. And it's really interesting that I find, because after Nathan had a conversation with David and Nathan tells David, yeah, God, he asked that baby out. In verse 18, they refer to they refer to Bathsheba as Uriah's wife. Shade. And David begged God, like, please spare my child. He was praying and asking the Lord, like, really, please, Lord. Like, he wasn't eating nothing. Like, he really wanted God to save this child because he knew it wasn't the baby's fault that all the stuff that had happened. It wasn't his fault, or the baby's fault. I don't think they tell us what the sex of the baby. I don't think they tell us. But yeah, like, he knew it wasn't the baby's fault that his daddy was trash. He knew. So David he's sad, he won't eat. He's just praying to God, asking God, like, he's really trying to reach out to God and ask God to, go through this. The elders are telling him, like, yo, you need to eat. He refused to eat. 7 days later, the baby dies. And the elders and stuff, they were scared to tell David that the baby had died. So, but he see them talking, like, how people be scared to tell you what's happening. All of that, all up in the corner. He knew what was up. So he like, yo, the baby gone? They like, yeah. He get up, get fresh as I'm is. He go pray and worship God. And then it's time to keep it rocking, right? After he went and worshiped God, he came back and ate his food. Now the elders is looking at him like, what happened, sir? Weren't you just like depressed and sad and about to, what happened, sir? So David basically was just like, I was fasting and praying, hoping God would save him. God didn't save him. I could go to him one day, he can't come back to me, so it is what it is. Then he went to Bathsheba like, dang, babe, it's crazy. I'm so sorry, babe. It's gonna be all right, though. It's gonna be all right, though. It's gonna be all right. And this time, the interesting part on this part is that in the Bible, they call Bathsheba David's wife this time. So it was kind of like the whole, that whole cycle of that whole part of their story was gone. It was like the baby passing away was kind of like the end of that chapter of their story, of like that part of their story. You know what I'm saying? But it says that David went to Bathsheba, his wife now, and they got it in real fast. Well, I ain't gonna say real fast because I don't know how David was or how Bathsheba was, but that's not the point. They went in, they got it in real fast. They slept together again, and this time she became pregnant again. Now this time she get pregnant with Solomon. Now Solomon ends up being the next king of the people. So I ain't gonna say it all. I guess it was an ending to the story. I don't know if that's a good ending, it was a bad ending. Because I'm pretty sure the baby didn't feel like it was a good ending. The baby that passed away, the no-name baby. I'm just saying. But it is what it is. The reason that I like this story about David is that, or even just all the stories in the Bible, is that they show that even with all your mess, you can still be used. Like I said, David was a womanizer. David loved women. That was his thing. And don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure that him being a king helped in the fact that he loved women. You know what I'm saying? Like, what women ain't trying to get down with the king? What women in our time, in our society now, what woman ain't trying to get with the dude who got the status, the athlete, the musician, the whatever, like the person in authority, the police officer, the mayor, the whoever, like the man or woman, whatever you into, that's in authority. Everyone is always trying to get after that because in our society, that's what we glorify, right? So I can only think about it in that time where there weren't as many people to look to who had like that type of clout. King David was that, and everybody knew that, like, him and God, main line, you know what I'm saying? So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of women in his face, and again, he's wrapped in flesh, he's human, but it's dope because, again, like, David is described as someone who was the man after God's own heart. Like, he genuinely loved God. He genuinely wanted to do what God wanted him to do. And I'm encouraged by, even though he did such a trash thing, and the Bible never tries to, like, act like it was cool what he did. The Bible never tries to act like it was cool. The Bible never blames Bathsheba, which I appreciate as well, because, you know, sometimes when I've heard the story told, Bathsheba catches an L in it. And I appreciate that the Bible doesn't blame her. Like, all of the responsibility of the situation is placed solely on David, because David was the one that was in authority. David was the one who knew what was right and what was wrong. He's king. Like, what you gonna do? And let's keep it a buck. Like, he might have been cute, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm losing track. So let me know down in the comments, had y'all heard the story of David and Bathsheba? I'm sure y'all had. Had y'all ever heard it like this? Don't know if you have. I really think I like this. The working title right now is Ratchet. I guess y'all should have started there. I'm calling this Ratchet Retelling of Bible Stories. I don't know what, that's the working title. I don't know if that's what it's gonna stay, but that's where we are. So yeah, let me know down in the comments, are you encouraged by the fact that even though David did such a trash thing, like, God still went on to use him? And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact David was extremely apologetic. He was extremely remorseful. He genuinely was like, dang, like, I messed up, and I messed up. You know what I'm saying? He acknowledged his wrong. And sometimes we can't be free of things because we refuse to acknowledge that we're wrong. We refuse to acknowledge that it's our fault that we're in the situation we're in. But that's another video for another day. I ain't getting caught up in that right now. Just saying. I hope you guys like this video. Please make sure you like, share, comment, all those good things. Please make sure you also follow me on Instagram, Truth and Love United. I also started TikTok randomly, but I just be being silly on there. So, I mean, I'll put it down there, but if you don't want to, it's fine. Also, make sure that you hit up James Lawrence Beauty, JamesLawrenceBeauty.com. They have a lot of nice natural skin things, lotions, all of that good stuff. And when you use my discount code Akira5, you can get a discount at checkout. So make sure you go do that as well. Do I have anything else to say? Actually, I do have one last thing to say. It's a lot going on in our world right now. Let's be mindful of one another. Let's be kind to one another. Let's love on one another. And let's just really make sure that we're giving each other just a little bit more grace than normal. There are a lot of people who are moving in fear. Now, if you're a believer, you should not be afraid. I stand by that statement. You can be cautious. You can be aware. You can be wise. But you should not be afraid. That's just my personal point on that. And I feel like if you are someone who is not afraid, you should be giving grace to those who are and trying to help them deal with those feelings, because they're natural feelings, but we shouldn't be afraid. God got us. Like, I know there are people who are like, hey, God and science can go together. Bless your heart. And I just believe, I have faith that everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be good. Like, this is another thing we'll figure it out. So, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And like I always say, as long as you're running your race at God's pace, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Bye.
Know that girl can make everything you got a little better. She can change your world for the better.